What it do, comic babies? I'm Bunkmaster B, and today is unfortunately the last day of November. That's right after this, we go right into the kickoff of the Christmas retail season. Even if you don't celebrate the holiday itself, you probably are aware that we are about to go into a big major push to end the year. That's, you're gonna hear the music, you're gonna see the sales online, you're gonna see the reminders. So however you are celebrating the month of December, hey, it's coming up on you. But you know what I think we should celebrate? I think we should celebrate the month of November that is ending. And what better way to do that than with November? This is a comic that came out, it started back in 2019. It came out as a set of 4 of these individual graphic novel releases. Kind of the same sort of thing that the Brubaker and Phillips team has been doing a lot recently with their stuff. Reckless is kind of their big one, but before that they were doing things like My Heroes Have Always Been Junkie, and I think that's pretty clearly an inspiration here. Started coming out in 2019, finished up I believe in 2020, it might have stretched into 2021. Made up of 4 books of this particular series right here. And it came to us published through Image Comics from the team of Matt Fraction on writing duties, the fantastic Elsa Charretier. I've never known if that's Charretier. I've actually emailed with her before, never thought to ask her. Elsa, if you're watching this, get at me. How do you pronounce your last name? And then Matt Hollingsworth on colors and Kurt Ankeny on letters. So this is a set of 4 standalone graphic novels, like I said, that tell a story of one night and 3 women who, through different means, get connected to the same criminal enterprise. And it's basically about how they got involved and how they try to extricate themselves from the inside out. So it's a really cool intertwining crime story about 3 women set over one night. The art is what really sets this apart. I can't wait to show you guys. Both Elsa's line work, very heavily inspired by Darwin. I always say, I think Elsa is the kind of artist that Darwin would have been if he had been heavily inspired by 1960s pop art sensibilities instead of 1950s Americana. The colors, the color palettes especially that are used in the different sections are really, really cool with this. But hey, let's go check it out.
Alright, so first we're going to take a look at the series as a whole. So the series is made up of 4 of these standard size hardcovers, and unfortunately it was never collected anything larger. And the series was released as these graphic novels, so you're not going to find any original issues. There's no number 1 or anything like that. Very much was inspired by the Brubaker and Phillips model. So we're just going to take a look at the volumes next to each other. We're only going to look at volume 1 today, but I just kind of want to show what these are all next to. So volume 1 right here, this is going to be one of our characters, girl on the roof. Get to see her with a microphone. Volume 2, the gun in the puddle. You see a little girl flying a kite. You get to find out a little bit more about that gun in the puddle. And then we're going to go down here to the last 2 volumes. Volume 3, voice on the other end of the phone. We get to see our last character. I don't really know why they chose not to put Kowalski on there, since the voice on the end of the phone is referencing Kowalski to a degree. I guess technically it's both of them. And then lastly, volume 4, the mess we're in. So these 4 volumes tell everything all together. Just those, you get the whole story. And if you're looking at all of the spines together, this is going to be what they look like. Same kind of trade dress. You get a different image right down here corresponding to what's happening in the story. and each one is going to be a different color. I think they look really nice together. So we're going to start off here with November Volume 1. Kind of go over, take a look at a little bit, because it is just a Volume 1 setting things up here, and it's only about 73 pages. There's not really much to spoil here, since this whole first volume is kind of a setup, but obviously, if you want to go in completely blind, don't watch this, but shouldn't really be giving anything away. End pages right here we have of the chain link fence. And get that more in depth right there. A little attribution, and then we go right into it. As far as the sort of title, everything like that, that's at the end. We get right into it. And we're introduced to our first character, D. And we get sort of this orangey, reddy, kind of sort of gauzy color tone that it's using right here. D likes to do puzzles. And she meets Mr. Man, who kind of just goes into her booth unannounced and offers her a job that all she has to do is do a very particular puzzle that's going to be printed in a particular newspaper every single day, and she's going to be paid $500 cash for doing that. Dee doesn't love the idea of it, but she's not really in a position to say no. And again, she loves puzzles. She also loves $500 cash. So she hears him out. Again, beautiful Elsa line work. Absolutely love that. And we flash back, we get a little bit of Dee's life as it is right now, and Dee's not doing so hot. We find out that she had a hip injury, she's mobility impaired, and might have a few substance abuse issues. Lives on the roof with her pigeons, and it's, things aren't going so hot for her. Starts to feel a little trapped in by the money. Being all in cash, there's only so much that you can do with it. She's not really trying to launder it in too many ways. And eventually she knows, kind of realizing that as she's doing this, there's going to be a day where someone comes from her. And, well, we see that day sooner than we might expect. From there, we're going to go to our next character. We're going to go to the gun in the puddle, where we get introduced to a woman going down. And by the way, we see the palette change right here. We've got more of these sort of cool blues, do a lot of complementary colors that are going throughout it. So we're going to get mostly blues, but we're going to get some oranges that are going to punctuate and just really kind of pop there. And really kind of separates all the different characters from each other. And she's not having a great time, gets her groceries knocked down, and finds a gun in a puddle, which is the name of the chapter. Calls 911 to, report that, and some police show up. She thinks, boy, that was fast. But they don't just take the gun, they take her as well. And that's her story from here. And then we get Kowalski, who's the last character of the three women that we're going to follow through this series, who is the voice on the end of the phone. So she is a 911 operator. We find out a little bit about her, find out that her marriage to her wife is breaking down. She's purposely taking longer and longer shifts so she doesn't have to be around as much at home, and when she does get home, she kind of times it after doing double, sometimes triple shifts, so that way she doesn't have to be there when her wife is awake, and can just kind of make it easier that way. And she's doing very much this kind of avoidance thing. And get some mass casualties, big 911 call, and she's on her 5th shift when she gets that call from the character we saw before about the gun. She's also got sort of she's treated somewhat contentiously by the actual police. She talks about how she's law enforcement adjacent. She could never quite knock it as a police officer. And she's given kind of some outright hostility. So again, a lot of setup, don't get a whole lot. And by the way, we get these sort of yellows, these ochres, these sort of mauve that's going on there. So get that all changing up there. Next, we kind of get to see a little bit that's not about the women there. This part we're going to go ahead and skip over. And so finally, we're taken back to the diner. We're taken back to the part of the conversation after Dee asked Mr. Man, yes, he says his name is Mr. Man, more about kind of the details here about the job, about doing the puzzle breaking and everything like that that's going to come with it. We get to find out he knows a little bit more about her life than she thinks she does. And she asks him, what if one day you don't do your job? Meaning, what if one day there's no puzzle for me to do, no code for me to crack? Well, Dee, we get this 2x4 or 4x2 grid breakdown, really accentuating this and just kind of drawing it out. Suppose someday that does happen, that would mean the end of the goddamn world. And that's where we finish. November, Volume 1. And before we finish up here, I figured I would show the original pieces from the thumbnail. Don't want anyone accusing me of being clickbaity by showing them for the thumbnail and not actually showing them video. So I do own 2 original pages from the series that I bought from Elsa. It was my first ever international art purchase, and she is located in France, and she does not go through a dealer. She does everything herself. Very pleasant to deal with. Very nice to chat with her. So you can see this right here. Little girl flying a kite. And this is from Volume 4. Without the sort of dress on here, the lettering, everything else like that. This might be a spoiler, but since we don't have any of that, it's not. Trust me, it's not. And then this one right here, which I believe is actually... yeah, so this right here, this is Dee, and this is again at the end of it. And this is maybe my favorite page from the whole series. Dee is my favorite character from the series, and you just sort of get that 1,000-yard stare as she's lost in a sea of, people who, are faceless, that are going through. She's the only one that's actually there. I love this page. You get, a little bit of the city architecture right there, but just really kind of bringing home Elsa's style. You get the details on the jean jacket coming through, but again, much like Darwin kind of did a lot with a little, I always said that he was really good about sort of convoking the idea of an item without necessarily needing to draw every part of it. And we do that sometimes with negative space or just sort of the way other things are there. And again, we get here Elsa using just this black fill on the people that are there. We're washing away their faces because that's not the important part. And back here, we get, them just being silhouetted. They're just more people moving through as Dee is the only one who's there looking at us. Love this page.
So that's it. That is Volume 1 of November. As I mentioned before, there are 4 different volumes. We took a look at this first volume right here, and really I would say that this is kind of a story that benefits from being all or nothing. It's a really quick read. Each volume is only about 73 pages or so. So the whole thing altogether, it's, the equivalent of reading like one oversized hardcover. Unfortunately, they never did come out with an OHC volume of this. I kept waiting, and I actually held off on buying the standard size hardcovers that you saw before, just because I kept thinking they were going to do an all-in-one edition. But unfortunately, this one, despite the pedigree from the team that put it out, I mean, Matt Fraction is a big name, really never seemed to get caught on. I've talked about this before as a hidden gem, but I really was thinking that this one was going to be more than just that this is one that people were going to talk about. But hey, I'm here talking about it, and this isn't my first time talking about it. back in April, sometime earlier this year, I did a video talking about 5 crime hidden gems book, and I covered this one on it, and just figured I always want to, kind of give each of those books a little bit time to shine. I want them to be more than just a book that's thrown in there. And plus, again, it's November. It's November. It's November. Got to do it now. So, let me know down below. Have you guys read this before? What do you think of it? Do you remember it coming out even? If not, what's your connection with Matt Fraction? Since obviously he's the sort of more well-known name on the title. Fraction, I know, is pretty hit or miss for some people. Some people absolutely love him. Some people think he's a little far out there and think he can be a little bit unrestrained. I would say this is far more restrained Fraction than something like Casanova, which I really like, but it's very out there. So, interested to see what you guys think of that. And then also, do you guys know Elsa's work? She's on Love Everlasting with Tom King right now, but I'd love to hear what you guys think of the story, or if you haven't read it, what you think of that team. But with that, I've been Bunkmaster B. You all have been amazing, and it's about to be December. Doesn't quite work as well as it's gonna be May. Catch you next time.